Greetings, YouTube. Today, I'm going to be talking about three different types of flippers. Purely mechanical, reset those, mechanical with a ball bearing, and then assisted opening. So we have manual, ball bearing manual, assisted opening. And as the demonstration pieces today, we have the CRKT Tuition, the Kershaw Strobe, and the Kershaw Clash. And I think they have advantages and disadvantages in every regard, but my personal bias is probably going to shine through. So first of all, we have the purely mechanical, and that is the one disadvantage. You have to kind of get the flip just right. There you go. It's a little easier on my elbows, not on the table. I get a little bit better angle. And the advantage of this is that it's purely manual. No one is ever going to make the claim that, oh, you're using an automatic knife of some variety, because you're not. You're using a knife that has no assistance whatsoever other than your finger touching the blade itself. And that's what you're doing. Your finger touching the blade itself. And so that's a big bonus when you're having to deal with someone who might be uncomfortable around knives, or hopefully you will not have to deal with anyone who works for some kind of private security or law enforcement. Then we have a flipper, which is manual, but has a ball bearing system. I forget what the Kershaw version is called. There you go. It takes a lot less effort. My elbow is on the table, so the ergonomics are not as good as they were when I was using the Tuition. And it comes out lightning quick, smooth as silk. And that, to my mind, is a good thing. I've become very fond of the ball bearing system, and I've only tried one Kershaw ball bearing blade, so I can't tell you how they compare to other ones. I actually don't know how many other models of Kershaw have ball bearing systems, but I've been very impressed with the Strobe. I own two CRKTs, one which I happen to like a whole lot, the Ripple, and the other one, which the name escapes me, didn't deploy as smoothly as the Ripple did. And then lastly, we have an assisted opening, which is going to take the least amount of effort. Ergonomics is almost how you hold your arm and things like that are almost completely immaterial in this regard. The disadvantage, it does make some people nervous. Some people look at oh, it's an automatic knife. It's not an automatic knife because you are moving the blade with your finger. You're not pushing a button that then deploys a spring or a lever or a torsion bar or anything like that to move the blade for you. You're doing it with your own finger on the blade itself. The disadvantage to this, besides potentially upsetting people who don't know anything about knives, is that you have to overcome the torsion bar, in this case it's a torsion bar, to reset the blade. So these are all liner locks, so the effort to just disengage the lock is the same, but when I'm doing this, I get to here, and now I have resistance. And if I bring it down, at some point I can grab it with my thumb and I can keep going. Whereas if I'm doing the Tuition, there's much less effort, and again with the Strobe, much less effort. I'm not overcoming anything, so it takes less effort on your part, and I think that these two are safer than this one, because there have been times when I've been using assisted opening flippers, and I own quite a few of them. In fact, it took me a little bit of effort to dig through my collection to find a purely manual one. That when you're overcoming this, sometimes I've actually had them move out of my hand, and that they move out of alignment, and that is a potential situation where you could cut yourself or drop it or cut somebody else. So I gotta be honest, I am somewhat biased towards manual flippers that have a ball bearing system. I think it is the best possible combination of everything you've got here. It isn't necessarily as effortless as the automatics, but you're not having to overcome any kind of a torsion bar. And you still get deployment as fast as you can with with an assisted opening, and I consider this to be superior to here because there's less of a hang up. There you go. And again, it takes more effort, and sometimes you're going to have to give it a little bit of English on that to get it to deploy the way you want. In this particular model, I really had to loosen up the blade quite a bit to get it to deploy. That's one of the reasons I don't carry this, besides the scales are incredibly smooth. But I actually had to loosen this blade up enough so that it actually has play now. The lock is actually not even helping me here a whole lot, because there was no other way to get the flipper to actually deploy, and you can't really deploy this thing because there's no thumb stud, so it's like you either deploy it with the flipper or you don't deploy it at all. The tuition was not a great design in my opinion. Maybe I just got a bum knife, but I'm not a real fan of it, though I love the blade shape. So there you have it, folks. I think that the manuals with a ball bearing system, in this case my favorite of the ball bearing knives I own 3, is the Kershaw Strobe. I consider it superior to the assisted opening, though I own quite a few assisted opening blades, and I don't regret owning them. I just think that this one is superior to that.